Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast. My name is RJ. I'm in Northeast Indiana, and today I'm drinking a nice cup of tea. I hear it's supposed to help calm people, so maybe some professional disc golfers might enjoy a nice cup of tea. Joining me today is a phenomenal host who would never, ever question why there's a penalty for taking excessive time.
No.
Joe.
Is that the James Conrad blend?
No, because my hair doesn't seem to be growing out and into a majestic flow. But it is quite tasty. It's a nice mint tea. It's
nice.
Mint tea.
Nice. Mint tea.
Yes.
Sounds like my mobile phone provider, Mint Mobile, which this is not brought to you by Mint Mobile, but they're actually way better than you think. Check them out if you're looking to save a buck. Use my offer code.
Yes.
Actually, I do have a friends and family code that will give me and you like $10 off your first bill or something like that.
Nice.
But
I think it's probably a little late for you to get $10 off your first bill.
Yeah, I already prepaid a year. That's how you get their best deal. That's how they get you. You could go
that darn
monthly,
1 year contract.
3 months, 6 months, or a year. Year gets the best deal. It comes out to $30 a month if you can afford it upfront.
Yes,
that's the catch.
So Joe, where are you coming from, and what are you drinking today?
I am coming from my in-laws and drinking heavily. No.
I've met your in-laws. That's not very nice to them.
I know, they're awesome. We had steak and martinis and James Bond. No, I'm drinking water.
You had martinis again?
Oh no, that was from Friday.
Oh yes. I was going to say, you told me the story. So this is actually the second time that Joe and I get to see each other today. Apparently our wives decided that... Yes, the first time was in person because apparently our wives decided that it had been too long since they had seen each other.
True.
I
can't get rid
really
of you.
Had been. The feeling is mutual.
Had it been since your reception?
Since the reception is what we decided, which is coming up on a year now. Here in a few days.
Yep.
So a year today? Yeah, apparently.
Give or take.
A year today.
Yeah.
A year as of today. So, apparently they've seen each other.
Well,
apparently
we can do it again next year.
Yeah. So, Joe, I don't know what you have going on next July 24th, but apparently we're getting together.
Well, we'll have to make it the 23rd to make sure it's still Sunday.
Yes.
I am coming from Northeast Indiana, Fort Fun, Indiana, drinking some water, hydrate or dihydrate, and watching some disc golf, and that's about it.
Yeah. So before we get into the awesome disc golf that we did have to watch today, let's really quickly go through our sponsor, joesdiscgolf.com. joesdiscgolf.com is where you can get all of your news and opinions on all the latest trending topics in disc golf, or at least what he's able to write. And you can
probably
also
write something on the current events of disc golf. I made a video, several.
You can also find his amazing videos, including his newest, hottest viral video about one Nikko Locastro, which I'm sure that we'll talk about, and on YouTube on YouTube /Joe's Disc Golf.
Nailed
For
it.
those that are listening to this podcast, you can also find this podcast in visual format on YouTube /Joe's Disc Golf. And for more from Joe, especially in the health and wellness side of disc golf, you can visit discgolfhealthy.com, where there are brand new articles and videos on different exercises that you can be disc golf healthy.
It is still just a shoulder. This past week has been insane. I'm working on something for the ankle as well as the elbow, wrist, forearm. I say it like that because it's basically all the same except for bicep curls.
From
and
about
tricep, yeah.
From about here down is really just different variations of the same exercise.
Yeah, you might want to be careful with some of those gestures on camera there.
You're down?
Not that one.
Hold the bowl of soup.
Yes.
Hold the basketball.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yes.
But, yeah, working on it. Things have been getting crazy, but I'm getting to a point where should have a lot more stuff going up. All, as they say in the biz, the show biz, evergreen content. So it's stuff that's good all the time. Because in the 10 plus years I've been doing this professionally, they still recommend the same 4 basic shoulder exercises. And same with the ankle. And yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it in terms of the exercises. Now, there is going to be more coming up eventually, but let's hit the basics first. Let's get a solid base.
Yep. We'll start with the foundational stuff and then work our way up.
Work our way up the pyramid, they would say.
Yeah.
At least some of our coworkers would say.
Yes. Our coworkers who specialize in performance.
Yes.
In fact. But you're not here to listen to that right now. No. Let's go ahead and get into the great weekend of disc golf that we had. Lots of news, lots of really interesting things happening. Of course, this week was what are we at? The third major of the year? The European Championship? The second and a half?
Second for the men.
Third for the women. Yes.
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah.
2.5 majors in the books.
Yes. So yes, we got through that. It was held in
Nokia, Finland.
Yes,
Nokia, Finland. Of some of the most indestructible phones in the world. Now that is a reference that has dated me big time, but the old school Nokia phones, you could essentially use them as a hammer and they would work absolutely just fine. I used to work in construction. I dropped one from a second-story window onto concrete, and it not on purpose. And that phone, the Nokia, still worked. I think the
concrete, however, actually had to be replaced.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the joke.
Yes.
So anyway, let's go through some results. We said it was the second major for the men, so they're trailing a little bit behind this year. So let's go ahead and start with them. Joe, where do you want to start? Top down, bottom up?
Let's go with the bottom up. Oh, God, there are a lot of people here. Well, because they don't have everybody, Right. You don't see everyone on coverage, so it's kind of hard. Adam Hams took 35th. He was tied. I'm just looking through here. Luke Humphreys took a tie for 20th. There were 7 people. Wow. A handful of ties. Simon Lizotte was 16th.
Hey, he was one of my Skip Ace picks.
Yeah, everybody beat me at Skip Ace this week because I did not get my lineup set.
Yeah, well, they even gave you the extra 4 or 5 hours to do it too, and it just didn't quite work. But
Ezra Aderhold and Ricky Wysocki ended up tying for 12th.
Yeah.
So,
I know Ricky was one of my...
Calvin Heimberg is tied for 8th. And now we get into the very fun top 4. Taking 4th was... Huh?
I thought we were going to do top 5.
Top 5. Chandler Kramer, 5th.
Woohoo!
I don't know much about him.
He was very much a surprise of the weekend, I guess, is a good way of putting it.
Yeah, was it Stat Mando that said he had a better chance, he had a higher chance of missing cash than making lead card?
Yes, that is in fact what it said. I remember seeing that tweet from, I don't remember whether that was Stat Mando, but I think that's where the stat originated from.
Yeah, it was somebody who used Stat Mando's website, I think.
I can't remember. I think, is the one who tweeted it. And
yeah, which was crazy.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Yes.
Nicholas Antila, he ended up edging out Chandler Kramer by a stroke. He was 24 down. He's from Finland, so that was nice for him.
Yep.
Nice, close, relatively speaking, tournament.
Yep.
And then the USA dominates because we also won the President's Cup. That not a lot of people watched, apparently, because I got 3 emails saying, hey, don't forget you could pay us extra money for it. Because there's the first one like a week out going, hey, by the way. Then the one the day before, which I was like, all right. And then the one the day of, like, hey, by the way, you can still get this and watch it. I was like, ooh, desperate? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Kevin Jones sneaks into 3rd place. This is second podium? Second?
Yeah, he hasn't been on a ton of them this year.
No.
It is good to see him up there, though.
Yes, it is. But then and that is a very distant 3rd place. He was 16 strokes behind Paul McBeth, who was 2nd.
Yes. Yep.
And him and Eagle McMahon battled back and forth for this last round. Oh,
all weekend.
Well, it was all weekend, but it really got exciting here. Those two set all sorts of records. And I think at one point, Eagle technically set a record because he finished out his round like he had the longer putt, so he was out. And he makes it. And then Paul McBeth then technically beats that record because he was putting out next. It was crazy. It was so fun to watch. If you watch the highlights from the final round that the DGPT put out on YouTube, it is exclusively Paul and Eagle. And I think there's one shot from Kevin Jones that was like really good. But it's like a 12-minute video, and it's basically their round.
Yeah, I mean, they went, let's see here if I can do some quick math here. So, Eagle went 6 down to start the round. Paul went 7 down to start the round.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah. They both took bogeys on 15.
Yeah,
but
Paul,
other than that,
he messed up 17. But
yep, and that's arguably what cost him because he loses by 1.
Yep.
And they finish 18 with the same, so
that's the difference maker right there.
Yep.
And Eagle had to make probably 18, maybe 20 footer to make it wide open, but still not, it wasn't a tap and it wasn't a gimme.
Well, speaking of Eagle's putting,
did
you see what his Circle 1 percentage was for this final round?
For the final round, was it 100? It is.
It was 100%, 61% birdie rate. He did not hit a Circle 2 putt. I'm going to guess that has more to do with the fact that he was in regulation on Circle 1 61% of the time.
Yeah, he only had 5 Circle 2 attempts.
Yeah.
And
Circle 2 attempts is one of the most gimmicky stats in disc golf.
Yes.
Just because sometimes you can have a Circle 2 attempt that's an actual attempt. Sometimes your Circle 2 attempt is, I'm trying not to go off the hill that's 2 feet beyond the basket, or I'm
in this pine tree trying to just get to Circle 1. Like, Circle 2 is an interesting stat, but I wouldn't say the way it's used now that it's a useful stat.
Yeah, I find it much more useful for greens in regulation.
Yes.
than for putting percentage.
Yes. Now, if they
at least in my own game, that's how I feel.
Now,
Because
I know it's possible, and you know it's possible, because you use UDisc to mark the distance to the pin. That would be more useful. If there was a way, and I get right now we're still growing. We're still struggling to find volunteers who can knowledgeably use UDisc.
yes.
But if we could get to a point where it's like, all right, you attempted circle 2, you had 2 attempts from 40 to 45 feet. Or, you had 3 attempts at 65 feet where, it's circle 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and again, I would like to see more of a breakdown between, okay, yes, this was a genuine attempt at the basket.
Yep.
And this was throwing it around a tree, underneath a branch and just trying to get it to a makeable circle 1 putt.
Or, those, and it's not quite as common as in the pros as it is probably with how I play and how a lot of people play amateurs, but those half run layups where you're like, I could make it, but if I miss, it's still a tap in.
Yes.
That nose up kind of slow hyzer that's just going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I'd love to see a differentiation in that, but that's whatever.
We're not there yet.
That's a long ways coming.
It's not like golf that has a defined green. Now, every single green is different and different size and shape, but you have, this is the green, this is not the green. And it makes that a little easier. Yeah,
I mean, there are courses that we play where you can be out of bounds in circle 1. And those are...
Same on tour.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Those are not tour caliber courses. Those are not...
Yeah.
Those are not necessarily the cream of the crop courses that are there to challenge the best of the best of the best.
Sir. I know the movie you're talking about.
I just saw something on Facebook about that little, I don't know if that's necessarily a scene or what you want to call it, but that whole, I guess scene. Yeah. That whole...
Will Smith.
Yes. But I don't remember any part of that where he slapped anyone, though, so...
No. He's got to warm up his slapping hand.
Yes. Well, moving on quickly before our fire truck of lawyers needs to get involved.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know that we're going to talk about the headliner from the men's side. Is there anyone else that you want to talk about on the men's side?
Which is unfortunate, without getting into it, that it was Paul and Eagle's insane 17-stroke win for Eagles, 16-stroke, domination over third.
Yeah.
Was overshadowed by a knucklehead.
Yeah.
That's about all I can say.
We referenced
Angry
it in the
Bob
intro.
Ross.
We're talking... No. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it.
No.
But, yeah, we talked about it. Let's go ahead and touch on it because we mentioned it in the intro. We talked about it now. So
teaser.
One person...
It's a teaser. We're full of teases.
One person who is not playing in the final round because they're officially DNF'd.
Or the third round.
The third round because they were DNF'd.
DQ'd.
Yes, DNF-Q'd.
Yes.
Is one Nikko Locastro.
Yep.
So if you haven't seen the video on it, or the video of it, I would advise you to go ahead and watch that before listening to this. Little spoiler warning there, but basically and Joe, correct me if you think this is out of context or if you don't think that I'm capturing the full picture, but essentially Nikko threw a shot on hole number 18 of the second round.
Yep.
And a PDGA rules official or a tournament official.
Yep.
Came up to him afterwards with his phone, with the timer out, and said, "You're going to be assessed a penalty." Nikko responded very aggressively.
Angrily. Yes, aggressively. That's probably a good way to put it, yes.
And that he immediately started challenging the official. He got in the official's face.
So the official got close enough. Like I would say at an appropriate distance. And you can watch the video.
A respectful distance. Feel free to disagree with that. If you
stretched out his arm and said, "Here's the stopwatch. Here's the clock." Like,
yep. Like
just as proof, not like, "Oh, I think you took too long." You know. That kind of thing.
It wasn't like he had it in his face or anything like that.
No, he had it very close enough where you could read it,
right?
But not like inappropriately close. Because that was one of the comments I saw was like, this guy got all up in Nikko's face. And if you actually watch the video, the guy said, "Hey, this is what happened. I'm calling a stroke on it." And Nikko walks right up to him and starts
in his face,
getting in his face and
for those of you that are familiar
him.
with MLB baseball, I would say that he effectively did his best manager trying to get thrown out of the game impression.
Yes.
And was
which he did very successfully.
He did. He was very animated. He was very loud. Maybe not animated, but he was very loud. No. He was very...
And it's hard to tell how loud he was because the microphones that the DGPT uses are good at picking up sounds at a relatively decent distance. So it sounded loud, but it might not have been. I'm going to give them both the benefit of the doubt with and the microphone setup.
Yeah, it did seem like he was louder than the official.
Yeah, but the official was very like, "This is the rule. This is what happened, and this is why." Every time he kept asking why.
Still, my favorite thing from the video is the rules official walks up, says, "You're going to be assessed a penalty." I'm paraphrasing that a little bit. I don't think that's exactly what he said. Nikko says, "Why?" The rules official responds, "Excessive time." Nikko says, "Why?" And the rules official just goes, "PDGA rules." Like, what else is he supposed to say to that?
He said something else along the lines of, "You were warned," or it was discussed at the beginning. So I don't know if there's something in the players' meeting that was like a blanket, like, "We're not going to deal with this, so y'all get a warning right off the bat."
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if you can do that or not, or if, Nikko is known for taking a long time. If like hole one, he's like, someone was like, "Hey, this is your warning. You gotta keep it up and nice and quick."
And that's the thing. I would say in other sports, we've seen warnings go out at the beginning of the game, even before the game.
Yeah.
Or, within 5 minutes.
Before things get out of hand as a preemptive knowing, the Blackhawks and Red Wings hate each other.
Right. I can think of when the Yankees and Red Sox are playing and get into a really big feud in a series. Next game, usually before a pitch is even thrown, warnings are sent to both dugouts that, okay, we're not having this. Or, the first pitch that's even mildly inside is, okay, that's it. That's your warning shot. Now everyone's getting warnings.
Yeah.
But I think in my mind, I think, let's finish up the recap. So anyway, this happens. Nikko kind of continues to, I would say that Nikko continues to kind of follow along, badger the official, uses some aggressive language towards him.
Yeah, they cut away on the Disc Golf Network coverage before anything is broadcast that
would
could
need
be
bleeped.
need to be bleeped. I don't know if anything like that has happened or not. I'm not saying.
Right.
But as things, I'd say, reach a crescendo, they cut away.
Yes.
I'll say that.
Yes. And then that footage comes out early on Friday.
That was Friday, yeah.
Friday, yes. And by Friday afternoon Eastern time, where we both are, there's a statement released by the PDGA saying simply that Nikko had been disqualified.
Yep. Which it was...
At the tournament director's discretion because of the incident and then being uncooperative afterwards was effectively what it was.
Yeah, they cited a couple different rules in the competition manual, which I have a video on that, which, let's see, what do we got with timing wise here? I'm just writing notes to myself to link those videos.
Right around the 26-minute mark.
So that kind of go over that and just say like, hey, here are the rules that were cited. There's a short, which is like 45 seconds. It's the TLDW. Too long, didn't watch. And then I have like a 8, 9, maybe 10-minute video on it. Just saying like, here's what Nikko did. Here's what the PDGA said. Here's what Gateway said. Here's what I did not see a statement from Disc Golf Network or Disc Golf Pro Tour. But
yeah, I don't remember seeing one from them either. I did see one from
all majors are still technically run by the PDGA, so I don't
know if they necessarily need to release one.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we're going to stay out of this. We don't need to get involved. Who was it? Clash Discs already dropped him, and Gateway Discs suspended him pending investigation.
I'll be curious to see what comes out of that, since Nikko is literally family to the president, founder. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not, whatever his sponsors decide to do is their own business. I don't care that
and I'm not
much
saying
that.
That's the funny thing is a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, enough people in comments of the videos have accused me of just like cheerleading this or doing that. And I'm just like, I just stated a whole bunch of facts as they were known at the time. And as far as I know, haven't changed.
Yes.
So, I don't know.
I would say
I tried to remain objective. I did editorialize the fallout from Nikko's verbal altercation.
Yes.
Which,
and
again,
that's exactly...
I apologize, everybody, if the background music is too loud. I'm sorry. But there's nothing I can do about that after it's uploaded to YouTube. I will change that going forward. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I will say, I think the disqualification is perfectly reasonable.
Oh, yeah.
I think...
Technically, a tournament director could disqualify you if he just doesn't like your haircut. Technically. Now, would that be a good idea? No, that would probably be a really terrible idea, and you'd get a reputation and nobody'd show up to your tournaments.
Yeah.
But
what I would say is, yes, there are times where you will see professional athletes going back and forth with officials.
Yep.
You see it in basketball where someone will be like, ref, you fouled me. Okay. Yeah. That happens in literally every single basketball game that has ever been played, regardless of what level. It doesn't matter if it's on the, streets of whatever town you want to fill in.
If there's
someone
an official,
is saying,
someone's complaining,
unhappy with them.
Like football is a great example. I played for a long time. It was not uncommon in even junior high and high school when I played to say, hey ref, can you watch? Because I played the line. Hey, can you watch this player? They're, grabbing things or doing things they shouldn't,
And that's exactly, I have no problems with that. We both work in sports. We know that happens. We know people get fired up in the heat of the moment and that type of thing.
Yep.
But I think that, quite frankly, Nikko just kind of crossed the line.
I think so too.
There are punishments for that. In the NBA or in basketball, you get a technical foul. In football, you get an unsportsmanlike conduct. In baseball, you might get ejected. This is just
hockey.
The
You get
of that
5-minute or potentially a 10-minute. 10 minutes are rare, but
and 10-minute game misconduct. You could get a 5-minute major for unsportsmanlike conduct.
But the best, I think, what we have to compare this to is because a lot of people are trying to compare it to basketball, football, hockey. I mean, we literally just did that.
We did, but absolutely.
I think what we would need to compare it to is something like tennis or golf, where it's similar in that respect, where you can say, you can ask like, hey, was it in or out for tennis? Generally, not so much.
You can ask, are you sure? Are you that type of thing?
Sometimes you can just ask for a clarification. Sometimes in football, you get called for some obscure penalty, and it's like, what did I do? Not in like, oh, I didn't do that. It's like, what did I do so I don't do that again?
Exactly.
I've done that when I started playing tournaments in disc golf. They're like, oh yeah, that was a foot fault. I was like, what did I do? Not like, what did I do so I don't do it again? Not, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. That's a load of crap.
Yeah. And I don't think that Nikko, if it would have been, why am I getting a penalty? Why was it, that type of thing? I don't think that he gets any type of punishment for that.
If he doesn't get in the guy's face right off the bat, if he gets in his face, maybe it's okay. But I think what really did him in was like essentially stalking him.
And that's exactly what I would say. He escalated it. Once the official walked away and did his piece, he kept on badgering it. He kept on escalating it.
Especially because
we'll hear it in a basketball game, for example, where a ref will say, okay, that's it. I'm done hearing it. That's it.
Yeah, you keep it up, you're going to get a technical or tossed. Or both.
Right. Exactly. and again, I don't think that Nikko got in trouble because he was arguing this call. I think that he got in trouble because he crossed a line of sportsmanship, a line of respect.
And I'd be curious what happened, what we didn't see.
And I don't think we'll ever know that.
I gotta imagine someone, because it was by the fans, someone had to have a phone out. Whether or not that made it to social media, words are hard. I swear this is water.
Or if you can see anything at all. But yeah, I think overall, like you said, it's really unfortunate that this is the second joint major that we've had this year. Mm-hmm. And every single time the play on the field, the play on the course has been overshadowed by something stupid controversy.
Yes.
And it's just,
hey, at least it wasn't the commentators this time.
At least it wasn't, because I even heard one of the commentators when this happened was like, Nikko, that's not a good look.
Oh, yeah. Somebody put a breakdown. I haven't seen it, but it was basically like, yeah, they're all going back like, Nikko, dude, shut up. I'm okay with the commentator saying that because you're just saying what we're all thinking. Like, dude, just
you gotta commentate on what's going on. But, it's so unfortunate that Eagle McMahon coming back in his first tournament back from, his first pro tour tournament.
Yeah.
Back from another shoulder injury.
Re-injury.
An injury that you and I have both said is going to take a lot for him to get over.
Hey, when we made our predictions, I said he wouldn't finish in the top 10 at a pro tour unless he got it surgically fixed. I was wrong. I even posted a video about that saying I was wrong. And I said this whole time, I will happily be wrong. Yes. I would be nothing more. I wouldn't be happier in disc golf if I was wrong about that, and I was wrong.
That said, I still think he may end up needing to get it fixed at some point. It may not be this year, but I think there's only so much. I mean, if he can have a righty backhand, a righty forehand, and a lefty backhand in his bag of tricks at all times, watch out. He may actually be the best of all time.
That lefty backhand was looking good.
Yeah.
And I didn't see, and I haven't watched everything, so he might have thrown a few forehands, but I got to imagine those are just 200-foot upshots if he has to. Like, if the lefty backhand isn't an option.
Yeah. So, really quickly, is Paul McBeth the most overrated disc golf ever now? He's lost by one stroke to two guys who literally cannot throw sidearms.
Yeah, exactly.
In what, basically 2 tournaments in a year now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
pretty much exactly a year, because so going a little bit into the YouTube weeds here, I just lost all the views and watch hours for my Worlds videos that went viral, like within the last week and a half. So it's almost a year to the week from Worlds last year.
Poor Paul.
Poor Paul. Yeah. Poor Paul with his millions, that Lamborghini.
Yes, he's just crying into $100 bills, I'm sure.
That's that scene from Zombieland, where Woody Harrelson is just drying his eyes with $100 bills.
Yeah. Oh man.
But he's a competitor, and so any tournament he doesn't win, he's pissed.
Right. Right.
In that competitive sense, not in the Nikko sense. But
yes. I will say, I do hope that this is a learning experience for Nikko. I hope that, because it seems like people have made the comment that there are some anger concerns when it comes to Nikko.
Yeah.
And I hope that whatever is going on that creates that kind of anger and whatnot, that he is able to, kind of work out and do that thing in whatever way he does that's not destructive to himself or somebody else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eagle went through, I don't know if official anger management stuff or not, but it was earlier on in his career. He would get angry and punch the ground. Well, he broke his throwing hand. And so he had to miss.
Didn't Nikko break his hand last year punching something?
Was that last? No, I thought it was longer ago. I could be wrong.
But I feel like it was something that he was actually supposed to be punching or something like that. I feel like the story that I heard was that he punched one of those arcade machines and just went straight through it.
Yeah. I think, was it him or was it somebody else?
I thought it was him.
Somebody did, but they punched something they were supposed to. No, this was he punched the ground.
Yeah.
And broke his hand and had to miss. I don't know how long he actually missed, but bones take 4 to 6 weeks to heal. Mm-hmm. So he missed 2 months roughly, I'm going to guess.
Probably at least that, because
and then you got to get back in condition and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But so that just I think that was an eye-opening experience to him. And it just feels like Nikko keeps having these issues once a year, once every other year. And it's dude, you got to learn, man.
You got to be a mature adult at some point.
You've got cut, essentially from multiple different sponsors.
Yeah.
Throughout the time. There's a reason why you are one of the greatest disc golfers, but your attitude has completely overshadowed your play. And
he's been sponsored, big company-wise, he's been sponsored by a Trilogy brand, which did not renew his contract.
Yep.
He's been sponsored by...
He started with Gateway, and now he's back with Gateway.
I know he was sponsored by... Was it Innova, maybe?
I'm going to see if there's a Wikipedia page.
I think that he was with some other big sponsor before that. But, the short of it is, I hope that whatever it is that he's going through where he just keeps having these outbursts. I hope that he gets whatever help he needs with
Yep.
it to help deal with it. Because, it sucks that it's such a negative light on him and the sport.
Okay, so Dynamic, well, before Dynamic got into being a disc manufacturer, he was with Dynamic and Innova, and then just Innova, and then Prodigy, and then Daredevil Discs, and then Westside Discs, and now Gateway.
Clash.
I thought he was with Gateway to start with, but that might have been before he went pro.
Yeah. So basically, he's been with every major company except MVP, and Discraft and Discmania. So I guess half the major companies.
Yeah. And so, I am not dancing on his grave or kicking him while he's down or anything like that. It's just, you got to learn.
Yeah, you got to learn, and it's really a black eye for him, for the sport, for everything.
Yeah.
But the opposite of that is exactly what Eagle did this week, doing an awesome job taking down the win, fighting Paul McBeth for another runaway win.
Every step of the way, those two were fighting each other. They were, after round, I got to get these minimized here. After round 1, Eagle was up by a stroke. Tied at, same differential after round 2. After round 3, McBeth evened it up. So they were even going into this round.
The whole way, basically.
Yeah. One stroke is nothing.
Which a Mick playoff would have been awesome, but...
Oh, yes.
I don't think the internet could have quite handled that.
No, especially if they all got McFlurries after.
Oh, jeez. Now we really have to get the fire truck of lawyers in. Gosh. Man. The only thing that could be worse is if you somehow brought Disney into this, because their lawyers have... Oh, hang on. What's this phone call I'm getting right now?
No. You got to watch out for Nintendo. They are the most litigious.
Yes. So a Mick 64?
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So we've talked so much about the men's side. Let's talk about the women's side, where we had history made. Yes.
Before we get into that, let's go through the whole tournament
Eveliina Salonen's history making. No. She actually did putting. Her putting was really well.
Yes.
But she finished second. So we're going to start a little bit lower down. We're going to start with 6th place. There were only 15, technically 16. We had a DNF. But there were 15 competitors who finished on the women's side. Yep. Finished in Finland. So they were all finished.
So do we just want to go through the entire list?
I will...
I'll let you pronounce every name that isn't American.
So we'll start with our DNF. Annalie Togas Monesty. Yep. She is... What flag is that?
I believe that is Estonia, maybe? Isn't that the same as Kristen Tars?
Yes, which she was not there.
Right. I don't remember what the reason was, but she dropped out before the tournament started. Remember seeing that into the week.
15th is Hanel Mata. I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's a lot of vowels in a row with some accent marks that I am not familiar with. So you're doing great, Joe.
Katrina Staalesen. I got that one.
Yep.
I got that one. She is from Norway. She was 14th. Laura Posh.
We nailed that one, I think.
Nailed it. She tied for 12th with someone, you can get this name.
Ann Carey.
Nailed it.
Woohoo.
And then from
which I'm surprised that she was so low. I'm really surprised that she was that low.
Yeah. From
But
Saskatchewan. No. What is
No.
SK? Saskatchewan's a...
that's a province.
Yes. Well, I saw SK. Bratislava, which all I can think of is Eurotrip. I'm so sorry, everybody. If you've ever seen Eurotrip.
That's driving me crazy because I can't think of what it is.
But it's Katka,
Slovakia.
Katka Bodova.
Yep.
It's close enough to Polish where I can get it. I grew up in the Chicago area. There's a lot of Polacks and a lot of mix, a lot of Irish people.
Yeah.
Trust me.
You wouldn't know anything about that second one.
No, not at all. Not at all. Above it is Jenny Ångström, or Jenny, I don't know.
I think it's Jenny.
From Finland. Anniken Steen was 9th. Katie Tati was 8th. Heidi Lane is 7th. I am just rocking these now. They're getting so easy.
Ona Starpanis was 6th. Kat Merch was 5th. Katrina Allen was 4th.
Henna Blomroos was 3rd. Eveliina Salonen was 2nd. And then somebody I've never heard of before has won it.
I believe it's Paige Pierce?
I think so.
No, I'm going to have to look her up. I'm not sure if she's ever won. Oh, wait. This was only
Finland,
her record-breaking... yes, the disc golf hotspot that is Pensacola, Finland.
Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
No, that was good.
Congratulations, Paige Pierce. You finally
on your
did it.
Record-breaking 17th career major championship. Just hats off. That's all there really is to say. I mean, Eveliina did not make it easy on her either.
No.
Evelina's putter was working really well.
Yeah, it was.
This kind of seems like Paige just kind of went out there on the last day and said, nope, this is my tournament. And
screw you guys.
Paige Pierce did Paige Pierce things.
Eveliina had her by 8 strokes at the end of round 2.
Yes.
And obviously Paige Pierce made that up in that time.
Paige ended up winning by 3.
Yep.
Obviously Eveliina probably could have done more to shut the door with a 2-stroke lead today.
Yes.
But it is what it is.
That round 3 losing by 6 strokes was rough.
Yes.
This obviously she did better at the first course than the second course, but her putting was what was it? Where was that? Oh, I have to go through
the day she
each
was
round
at 55%, which was her worst of the weekend.
Yeah.
Contrast that to when she was in the US when she was struggling to hit, what was it, 45%, I think?
If that. Plenty of people pointed out that if she hit
might have been over
50% of her putts, she would be winning. She'd be cleaning up when she was here.
Yeah. So good to see her getting the putter back on track. Seems like that mental game has kind of made its way back to where it needs to be.
Her best putting was round 1 at 77%.
Yeah.
Which is pretty solid for the women's side.
Yep, that's right up there with the best of them. For example, round 1, Paige Pierce, if I can find it.
Paige's final round, she was 80% C1X.
Yeah, Paige Pierce, 70% for the first round. So, awesome job by her. I mean,
that's got to be a weight off her shoulders.
Oh, absolutely.
Ever since
the last one, the last
Cup.
major that they have this year is Worlds?
Yep.
No. Yes, Worlds, because USWDGC has already been played.
Yep. And Throw Pink is not a major, even though it is essentially a major in every respect, except the little M after the tournament.
Yes. So, it's I'm really excited to see her there, where I think that she'll be playing free and no pressure on her. I'm really
let's be
hoping,
honest, this course definitely set up better for her game than the courses in Wisconsin. They were shorter and more technical, so it was it leveled the playing field because every woman on tour could throw 350 feet.
Yes.
Just quick here on UDisc, there are 600, 800, 700 foot holes.
Yeah.
And she can throw far.
Paige
And
Pierce
I'm not
is
saying
arguably
that she's
the
not
best
talented.
Distance thrower and the best putter.
Yep.
There's a reason why I would say that she is probably the best that we have ever seen in the women's game.
At least so far.
Yes, so far, if you listen to my hot take, that is not a never-ending statement.
Yes. The hard part, like disc golf, is just so young, and if we start getting more money in it, and you get those kids who are on track to be pitchers,
you're going to get more Kristen Tatars. You're going to get more Paige Pierces that can
men's side and women's side.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really hoping that Kristen makes it to Worlds.
I hope so too.
Because I think that disc golf is better when Kristen Tatar is playing, because I think that she is a very close second to Paige Pierce.
Yes.
If not maybe more talented at this point in time.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Like, I know recently she's been kind of dominating, Kristen Tatar has, but I'll be curious if we could get a bigger sample size, because it's easy to know you're only going to come over here for 4 or 5 tournaments and just go YOLO.
Yeah. Yeet.
Yeet this over there. That's kind of how I play my game. But speaking of Kristen Tatar, the Kristen Tatar Orbit Royal Grace, oh, that is such a good disc. Oh, man. I've been bombing the crap out of that thing.
So, question for you. How old do you think Kristen Tatar is?
How old?
Yes. Keeping in mind that you have no idea how old anyone is.
No, not at all. I am going to guess... Do I... approximate, like, do I need to guess, like, the age and just give you a number like 27 or, like, late 20s?
Go ahead and give me an age.
An age.
Like an actual age.
An actual age. She's got a 7-year-old daughter.
Okay. So keep in mind, she is younger than us.
Yeah, I figured that. I was going to say 20. 27 actually sounds like a good.
You're actually a little bit young.
Oh. Wow.
She is 5 days younger than me.
So she is
30.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
Never would have guessed.
And I am going to go ahead and go out on a limb and guess that she would probably be able to play 2 rounds at any course that I have ever played in fewer strokes than I can play with 1.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and go out and stick my neck out on a limb on that one. And say, she is significantly better, and I am going to say it's only because she's younger than me.
Yes. Yep.
And has been playing professionally for longer than I have been playing, and is just probably more talented.
Yep. It's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. Which I thought she was younger than that. I would have probably put her right around 27, maybe,
right
not
about
25
where I was
years.
saying.
Yeah, because she's got the 20, or the not the 20-year-old daughter, the 7-year-old daughter.
Whoa. There's a lot wrong with that statement right there.
Yes, fire truck of lawyers, please help.
Yeah.
Joe, you can edit that.
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen in the least.
Nope. Too lazy.
Yep, absolutely. But anyway, so I think that pretty well. So sorry, I got us a little sidetracked there.
Meh.
You've started throwing the Orbit Grace, you said?
Yes. Oh, that thing flies so good. So
What do you
good.
like about it? What do you like about it? Impromptu disc review right now, right here.
The disc, like the distance feels effortless. I'm
Okay.
throwing it 400 feet, but I don't feel like I have to throw everything I have to. Like when I throw my Sheriff or my Raider that far, I feel like I have to like put everything I got behind it. And with the Grace, I feel like I have to put 85% behind it.
Which
Where the
those
Rive,
discs are not
the Grand
that
Royal
far.
Rive,
Yeah.
which is another very good disc. Even though I swear I'm letting it out on the exact same release angle as everything else, that thing just goes up into the air. Like just keeps on flying up. And I was like, I thought I threw this flat.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So you really like that kind of feeling of effortless distance. I
Yes.
feel like you said the same thing about the bounty when you first started throwing it, and that
Yes.
you really
The
like
bounty
the glide,
just-
that effortless distance that just didn't want to stop.
So as a point of clarification for people who don't know what these discs are, the Grace is an 11 speed for latitude. So that slow distance, fast fairway depends on who you talk to. It's either one. So
I would say in Trilogy brand, it is a distance driver.
it is the
low
slowest
speed distance driver.
The bounty is a mid-range. It's like 4 or 5 speed, something like that. Understable, crazy amounts of glide. Like if you let that go just right, it's just gonna. My complaint with the disc is I'm trying to throw it on like a 200-foot hole and it blows past the basket, and I'm not throwing it that hard. Where if I threw a putter the same way, the putter would die and just end up under the basket.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Which is, well, in an ideal world, let me say that, in an ideal world, the putter would die and end up under the basket.
and also in an ideal world, the bounty would not blow past the basket. It would go right into the chains and fall down.
I've actually started throwing the bounty on a turnover forehand shot for a dogleg left hole. You'd think at PFW, hole 7, we've talked about that you'd
one.
want to go with the backhand, but the angle you need and how far left you need to be able to get the birdie, you need to throw like a turnover like that or get real lucky with a backhand.
Remind me again, when you throw a forehand roller,
Yep.
which way does it curl?
Same as it would for a forehand. So to the right.
So it would turn arm side.
Yes.
Okay. I might have to try that with my patrol or my bouncy next time I'm out there. Because I struggle with that hole because I struggle getting it out far enough and then turning. I thought about maybe just juicing up my trespass on a big ol' hyzer line for no good reason, but
What
I also
hole is
know
it?
that
Hole at Shof. Is it hole D that goes, it's uphill dogleg left? It's like 170
Oh,
feet.
yeah. Yeah, D sounds right.
I throw, after watching a Latitude 64 video with Tomas, and I can't remember their marketing guy, but he's hilarious. Throw a forehand putter roller, it'll cut left. And it,
Interesting.
for me, where it always ends up cutting left and dying is right where that dog leg is. And I usually end up either by the basket or blowing past the basket, but I have like a 20-foot wide open look because it just follows the trail right out of the basket.
Oh man. I will say, I I just thought about this when you were mentioning that. So I finally found my Lucid Air escapes that Dynamic Disc has been hiding from me.
Just from you.
Just from me. Well, I kept looking at the release calendar because I'm like, oh yeah, the release calendar is when they're releasing discs.
Yeah.
You know, the release calendar is when they're releasing Team Series and Special Edition discs.
Yep.
So it finally dawned on me that I'm like, I haven't seen like a Lucid Escape, an EMAT True, a Fusion EMAT True, whatever. So I'm like, I'm just going to check the Escape page. And I look and I'm like, well, now I feel like an idiot.
Yeah. But you used my discount code.
I did use your discount code. And so I ordered those. And then I remembered that I was going to ask to get one of them signed by all of like the backroom staff people.
And you forgot.
Like you got for your fellow or
my cone of justice.
No, one of your justice. Yes.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh,
it's not hanging up anymore. The studio, aka my basement, the man cave, is slowly being renovated, and I have a big 4 foot by 4 foot sheet of fiberglass soundproofing that is going to go right behind me. As soon as I can get enough people over here to make sure I make it level before I put 5,000 staples into the wall.
My wife and I were just over there. What were we doing?
Yeah, I know. We played Harry Potter.
We did.
Manly things.
Yes, and we got our rear ends kicked.
By he who must not be named, a.k.a. the RNG of dice.
Yes.
Statistically, we should have rolled what we needed.
That was so frustrating. For those of you that have never played the Harry Potter Hogwarts battle game, that's what we were playing. Game. It is. It was a lot of fun. Well, there are dice, and there's a die for each house, and each die has some unique trait. Where, for example, the Hufflepuff die has 3 sides that are hearts, 1 side that's a card, 1 side that's a lightning bolt, and 1 side that's a coin.
Yep.
We needed to roll a heart. We rolled that die probably 10 times today. Didn't get a single heart the entire game. It was so frustrating.
I rolled that die and got the card we needed for my first roll.
Yep.
Makes no sense.
It was so frustrating.
We need to buy perfectly balanced dice and just Sharpie on.
Oh, man. No, I think it was so this is really getting into the nerd weeds. A couple of years ago, I was down at Gen Con, which is a big board game and tabletop convention.
Yep. Bunch of sweaty nerds crammed into a room, big room.
Yes. Much less appealing now after COVID for some reason.
The BO didn't turn you off to that beforehand.
Yeah, it might be more appealing now because nobody can smell anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so I was at one of the dice manufacturers and they were saying, oh yeah, it's perfectly balanced die. And I'm like, no, I don't want perfectly balanced die. I want die that always land on the highest possible number. Yeah. Why would I want perfectly balanced die? Then I can get low numbers.
Exactly.
And they're like, well, we can't help you with that. I'm like, fine. Give me the prettiest ones that you have.
Yep.
And that's how you become a dice goblin.
Yeah.
And eventually a dice dragon.
And I think that's about a good place to end it there, Dice Dragon.
I think so. Okay. Funny story. When we were in Seattle.
No. Okay.
So one of the big dice manufacturers is based in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Really?
Yeah. It's called Chessex. They're a big dice manufacturer.
Sure.
Anyway. So I was in Seattle and they had some really... I went into this... basically Nerd Haven store, where I found that apparently there's a, I don't know if you've played it with us, but there's a board game called Happy Little Dinosaurs, and there's an expansion for that. Huh. I also got the Marvel not there, but I found it there originally, the Marvel Smash Up expansion.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I have that. We need to play it sometime. But anyway, so I'm just walking around and I just see this wall of their dice and I'm just like, it's so pretty. Babe, pull me away from this before I buy dice. I'm Fort Wayne in Seattle and have to take them on our cruise ship and back home.
We need to figure out a time to play disc dice. I have that.
Oh, what are you doing
in our
tomorrow?
free time? But I think we should end this so we actually have some free time.
Yes.
So we can go to bed at a reasonable time.
I think that ship has sailed, but
yes,
it's a worthy goal anyway.
I'd say so.
Joe, where can they find all of your socials and all of that good stuff?
Well, Twitter and Instagram are easy at Joe's Disc Golf. YouTube, if you're watching there, you already know where it is. But if you aren't and you're just listening, it's at Joe's Disc Golf. On all of the major podcasting or Half in the Bag, which is this podcast. Got into the mode for the wrong podcast, man. Just started rolling on the wrong one.
No. Roll it. Because I'll do the Half in the Bag stuff. You don't worry about that.
So Joe's Disc Golf Podcast, weekly, missed last week, had some stuff come up, made up for it by making a whole bunch of other YouTube videos though.
And that one does typically go live on Facebook and YouTube and
Twitch, yep. And hopefully I might do a bonus stream and a bonus podcast to kind of catch up because there's going to be a lot to talk about, I think. I think the whole Nico thing could be its own podcast.
Probably. I've heard rumors that there is still going to be a suspension coming.
Yeah, which...
I wouldn't be surprised to see at least a tournament or two that he has to take off, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see with that. Still got to talk about this tournament, the European Open, on my podcast.
And a little bit more depth than we went into.
What's coming up here. I think D-Glow's coming up.
D-Glow is next week. Get your Skip Ace picks in. If you still want to join our Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast Weekly League, you can do so using the code 3CQF, I believe. If that is wrong, so. Joe will have it on the screen, maybe, probably not. But there will be it will be in the show notes at least.
Yep. Yeah.
Thanks to the magic of it.
D-Glow will start in 5 days from the date of recording, 3 days from the date of publication. We'll see how many pros are there.
Yes. I suspect that.
I mean, yes. All the big ones are signed up, including Ricky, Paul, Simon.
Yeah. That's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised the Eagle isn't, because
as far as I know, before winning, the only two tournaments he was signed up for this year, the rest of the year, was this one and Worlds. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I would not be surprised if a ton of these guys are no-shows or just cancel, because that's a heck of a turnaround. That's a lot of flying.
That's really tough.
The one bonus is they're in the suburbs of Detroit, essentially, so they can fly into a major airport.
Yeah.
Still.
So, yeah. Anyway. And if you want to find this podcast on social media, you can do so at Half in the Bag DG on Twitter.
Yep.
Again, you can find this wherever you get your major podcasts at Half in the Bag Disc Golf. You can also find this on Joe's YouTube channel /Joe's Disc Golf. You can submit any listener questions through at Half in the Bag DG on Twitter, and you can also submit your disc of the week. This week was a very pretty Kona Orbit Escape that actually Joe picked up for me when on my request.
Yes.
He didn't just give it to me out of the goodness of his heart.
No, I'm not that nice.
No, we wouldn't expect such things.
According to the internet, I'm a heartless bastard, but that's the internet.
Well, according to your friends too, but
yeah, but at least when I see the internet, people are like, whatever.
Well, anyway.
Right. Yep.
Yes. Everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Joe, thanks for taking the time to record and edit this awesome podcast with me today.
Yep, thanks for joining.
And everyone, enjoy your rounds and take care of yourselves. Bye.
Later.